Hi everyone and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm here with a new video. Today I will be sharing with you my Make 9 for 2025. If you're new on this channel, my name is Famke. I'm a knitwear designer based in Amsterdam and I also make YouTube and crafty content here and also on Instagram, so you can find me at Maybe the Label. I've only been designing knitting patterns for I think 1 year now. And before starting off this video, I do quickly want to mention that it's very dark and gloomy and there is a storm incoming in I think 10 minutes. I'm going to try to make this video a little bit quicker than usual, so I'm sorry about that in advance. So of course with the beginning of the new year I've done some re-evaluating, especially after sharing everything that I knit in 2024, and I really decided that I don't want to add as much projects as usual to my Make 9. So last year I chose 9 knitting patterns to add on my Make 9 list and I think I only made 3 of those. And so it wasn't very realistic, besides the knitwear designs that I also do. And this year I'm actually planning to release 17 knitting patterns, which is kind of crazy. So we'll have to just see if I can manage. And of course, because I'm already designing and knitting 17 things, I just didn't want to add 9 things on top of that. So I actually have around 5 knitting patterns, which I think is a realistic amount for me to knit throughout the entire year. And then also some sewing things. Then another goal of mine for 2025, unfortunately, is to not buy any fabric. So I'm going to use only fabric that I have in stash. I cannot buy any new fabric until I've run out of fabric, which is probably not going to happen anytime soon. It's going to take a couple of months for sure. Then for yarn, I would like to do the same, but I'm not sure if it's possible. I do have already so much yarn, but still I always have just a specific color in mind or a specific yarn, and then I don't have that specific thing that I want in my mind. So I might have to try to get better in that and just accept that some things cannot be perfect, and so you will see a little bit of that in this video. So those were all of the little things that I wanted to share beforehand about how I'm going about planning this year, and let's just get started with the first pattern that I would love to knit. So the first pattern has actually been on my mind for quite a while and I already have the yarn for it, which was kindly gifted to me as well, and I requested this yarn specifically for this pattern, which is the Braidy loop sweater by Other Loops, and it's a beautiful pattern that combines cables with a bunch of stockinette, which I really like. And I would knit this in this beautiful Scheepjes Woolwijs, which is a DK weight yarn that is made from recycled merino wool. And lately I've really been feeling green. Before this I was in a blue phase, but now I think I'm going to head into a green phase. So this olive green color is going to be perfect for that. And this is also something that I really don't have in my wardrobe yet. I do have like a sage green sweater, but other than that I don't have anything that is this color. It's also raining right now, so I really hope you can't hear the rain, but you probably can. But maybe it's relaxing? I don't know. The Braidy loop sweater is knit on 4mm needles, and I'm now seeing that it only comes in 4 sizes, which I'm not sure if I want to support a pattern that only comes in 4 sizes. So it's not very size inclusive because it only goes to a 145cm bust. The smallest size is a 100cm bust, which I also don't think is very size inclusive. So I'm not sure. I think actually now that I'm seeing this, I'm going to choose a different pattern, even though I do think it's very beautiful. Let me know if you have any suggestions. I'm just looking for something, I don't know, like a drop shoulder, but that has some texture, but then not too crazy. I kind of want knits that are a little bit easier this year, I think, because I'm designing things besides it as well. So speaking of knits that are a little bit easier and not as complicated, I would love to make the Olga jacket this year by Petite knit, and I already have the yarn for it because Hobby was doing, a really big sale on their wool. So I got some. I've never knit with this yarn before, so I'm very excited to try it. And I'm doing quite a bit of an odd color combination. Also because this color, it was called Mauve, and on their website it's a very dusty pink with a purple undertone, but in real life it's much more just like a lilac color, so it's a little bit more vibrant and darker than I expected it to be. And then I'm pairing it with, I think this color was called Cognac. And I actually really can't wait to cast this on, but I do have a lot of other things still going. Even though I cleared my whips like massively, I still have other projects that I need to work on, so sadly I'm not sure when this is going to happen, but I hope that is going to be soon. So one of the reasons why I don't want to cast on the Olga jacket just yet is because I have another sweater currently on the needles, which is the Anemone sweater by Knitting for Olive. I feel like I've talked about this knitting pattern so much lately, especially because I was thinking about knitting this with my advent calendar, but I decided to just use regular stash yarn for it. So I did cast this one on during December or like Craftmas, and I already have the ribbing for it done, so I need to get started on the color work. And I'm knitting this in the Drops Fiesta yarn, which is a new to me yarn as well in this beautiful beige color. And this is a DK weight yarn, but that has some nylon or no, like polyamide in there as well. So it's more like a sock yarn, but I do think it's pretty soft and the knitting experience so far has been quite nice. Then the contrasting yarns that I'm going to be using for this sweater, I think I got somewhere last summer physically in a yarn store. So now I'm excited to start using them because I did get them actually for this project because it was on my Make 9 in 2024. I'm going to be using Long Yarns Merino 200 together with Long Yarns Alpaca Super Light. Of course, we have the green color for the leaves. Then we have this lilac color for one of the flowers, which I'm not sure yet if this is going to have enough contrast, but we'll figure it out. Then I have this really beautiful pink or like reddish pink color. And then I just have some leftover yarns that I think would be very beautiful in there as well. So those are just a little bit of the colors that I already have on hand, but I have a lot of other yarn in my stash, so I'm sure I will be able to figure it out. The Anemone sweater is knit on 4mm needles and the ribbing is done on 3.5mm needles. And this one does come in a lot more sizes, ranging from a finished chest of 87 centimeters to 147 centimeters. And I am sizing up for this sweater because I want it to be quite oversized. So instead of knitting like an extra small, I'm knitting the size small this time. Then we have another sweater that I would love to knit that is a little bit more in between. So it does have texture, but not too much. So this is the Louise pullover by Northside Knit Co, which I have seen around a couple of times. I've definitely been influenced because I just keep seeing people wearing this and it looks so like effortless and stylish. And I think I would get a lot of wear out of it. Ideally, I would like to knit it in like a cream color, but I don't have any cream yarn. I kind of feel like I need to stock up on just cream and beige yarns because I feel like you can always use them and you can never have too many. But I think I'm going to compromise and knit it in pink for my stash, which I know if you know me, pink is not really a compromise, but at the same time, do I want this sweater in pink? I'm not so sure. This yarn has been in my stash for I think a year now because this is one of the yarns that I bought with my birthday money last year. So we have a really nice yarn that is Novita Merino 4-ply, which I have not a lot of experience with, but I do really like it. And it's just a fingering weight merino wool yarn, really cute. And then I was planning to hold it together with Long Yarn Sen, which is a merino alpaca silk yarn. So it's really nice that it doesn't have any mohair. So this is a Surrey-based lace weight yarn. And I think these colors go quite well together. This is the type of yarn that, yeah, you can use for so many different projects. I don't know if I want the Louise pullover to be pink, but I also don't have a lot of other options in my stash. I'll have to think about that. Then the Louise pullover is knit on 4mm needles. It comes in 8 sizes, but it ranges from a 38-inch chest to a 64-inch chest. And I don't work in inches, so I don't know what that means, but those are the sizes. So then I have one more thing that I'm thinking about knitting, and I'm not sure if it's going to happen because it's a little bit of an impulsive idea. Like I just had this 5 minutes ago, but I'm just going to share it because I have this yarn in my stash that I think is beautiful. It's the size of my head because it's the biggest skein that I've ever seen because this has 1265 meters of yarn on this. It weighs 230 grams, so it's a bit of a lighter yarn. And I did get questions about this from people because I shared that I bought this and with a picture, but I never shared, I think, the actual yarn. But it's this yarn from Vildar, and this yarn is supposed to create a leopard print in your knitting, which I just think is so cool. So this is mostly wool with mohair, polyamide and some elastane, and they say it's for needle size 6mm. I'm not sure if that's true, but like when I grab a strand, I'm not sure if I would knit that on a 6mm needle. So I'm really tempted to start knitting with this yarn because I just want to see what it looks like, and I just think it's going to be very cool. I just don't know what I would want to knit with it. So one idea, for example, is the Cloud sweater by Petite, which I do quite like, but I'm not sure if it's for me. And another idea would be the Cumulus blouse by Petite, which I do think then this would be a really fun layering piece because when you have the v-neck, it would be really nice to layer it with t-shirts and like a bunch of necklaces. And I think that would be really fun with this leopard print, like combined. So that might be an option. I have never knit a Cumulus blouse. I do know it's a very popular pattern and I would want to knit, like I said, the v-neck version. So that is on 4.5mm needles, and it does come in so many sizes from an extra small to a 5XL, which I always love to see, which is for a bust circumference of 80 to 150 centimeters. So I'm thinking this might be it. I think it could be really fun. Then pretty soon I'm going to be working on some very colorful knits because I'm currently starting with like the spring knitting and stuff. So I just wanted to show you these yarns because they are so cute and colorful. So I'm going to knit both of these as a cardigan. So first of all, we have Drops Fiesta, which comes in these beautiful like speckled self-striping kind of colorways. So I just had to get this once it was released because this is too amazing. And then I'm going to be holding it with the Drops brushed alpaca silk, and that's going to kind of tone down the yarn. And then another cardigan is going to be a lilac cardigan, which I know I'm wearing something lilac, but you can never have too much lilac in your wardrobe. So that is going to be in the Drops Snore, held together with the Drops brushed alpaca silk again, because this is one of my favorite yarns. And I do have so many yarns in Drops yarns. So I'm thinking I want to expand my horizons. So if you have any suggestions, I do want it to be a little bit more affordable because I think that makes my designs more accessible and also more budget friendly for myself to knit on. So I'm not really looking for like knitting for olive or hand-dyed yarn. I'm more so looking for Drops similar types of yarn. So if you have any recommendations, I'm very open to it. And I think it's fun to explore different yarns. So those are all of my knitting plans, and I'm just going to show you a couple of my sewing plans. The first one, I should just go and like make it right now because I've been like a broken record talking about this sewing pattern. But it's the August dress / top by Alissah Threads that I've loved since she shared it, like before it was even released. It's kind of a dress that's kind of similar to what I'm wearing right now with a big collar and ruffles. So it really suits my style. It also has a nice and big puff sleeve, and I just feel I need it in my wardrobe. And I do have the fabric for it already, and I have this like, I don't know, maybe 8-ounce denim, so it's a little bit lighter in this mid blue color, and I think it's going to be a great dress, very wearable with lots of different things. Then another dress that I already have the pattern for is the Cloud dress by Sewing Masin, and I have this beautiful yarn dyed gingham fabric in this like pumpkin patch girl colorway, which is just adorable. And I think I want to make it into a mini dress length, and I think that would be really nice also for the upcoming spring and summer season, which I know that feels very far away, but we can always make and dream and work in advance. Then another dress. I'm now noticing that I've only chosen dresses, but I think it's one of my favorite things to make, besides probably tops. So one of the dresses that I would also love to make is the Juniper dress by Tiana Herring, and I saw those twins knit that they made this dress, and I've never been very drawn to this pattern specifically. I have seen it around before, but then I saw their version and I just fell in love. And I think it's also because their body type is a little bit more similar to my own because they are a little bit more petite. So just seeing it on somebody that was similar to me made me like it a little bit more because I always thought it was too oversized and I would like drown in that dress, but they looked really great in it. So basically what I'm trying to say is I'm going to be making it, and I think this also really shows the importance of like body positivity and, you know, size inclusivity, is that it's really nice if you are able to show things on multiple body types, and it really helps, I think. So I'm going to be making it in this pink corduroy fabric that I got specifically for this pattern. It's already pre-washed and ready to go. Just need to get a nice and fancy zipper, definitely something gold to go with this, and then I will be ready to start sewing it. And then the final dress that I would love to make, that I also have just the pattern printed and ready to go. The fabric is pre-washed. This was going to be like my Christmas dress. Obviously that didn't happen, but it's a really nice cotton voile with this dot print or plumetti print. It's very cute. I'm going to completely line it because it's quite thin, and I'm going to be making the Marnie dress or top by Tilly and the Buttons. I think I got a bunch of these patterns during Black Friday because most of these makers had a sale on their patterns, which was really great. And I just think that is a very cute pattern with all of the ruffles. I definitely see myself making it like again and again, but I do first have to just experience it for the first time because I cannot really say how much I will like it until I've seen like the fit and the sewing process. There are so many versions in the pattern already. Like you can skip the ruffles, play around with the pin tucks in the front, and I just love that pattern. I have been procrastinating making it because it's a little bit more of an elaborate sewing pattern because it has a lot of details that definitely make the pattern so beautiful, but it also just makes it a sewing process that has me, I don't know, just like not really wanting to make it right now. I'm pretty sure there is going to be one day that I just wake up and I feel like making that dress in particular, and yeah, it's going to be very fun. And I do have a lot of other fabrics, so this is only a small percentage of the things that I have, and the same goes for the yarn. So who knows, like these plans could very well change. But these are all projects that have been on my radar for a very long time. So I'm pretty sure that they are going to happen. So I feel very positive about my Make 9 for this year. Maybe not so positive about my spending habits or goals, but we'll have to see. I think I will try to update you about that maybe every podcast or every other podcast. We'll see. I would love to know if you have any specific making goals for this year or like spending habits for your crafting. I would love to know. I think it's very interesting. I also really love What's Millie Making podcast because she always shares like the prices of the projects that she's working on, which I'm also considering doing, but I would love to know if that's something that you're interested in. Of course, I know that's not everybody's cup of tea, so I would love to have some feedback about that. For now, I wish you all a very happy day, happy knitting, and I hope to see you in my next video. Bye bye!